Hello, and what I want to look at today is file handling, so how to read or write to a file. So let's have a look at some code. So what we're going to do first is have a look at a file called writing, and we're going to try and write to a file. Now the first thing we need to do is open the file, and we're just going to call it writetest.txt. So we're using the open command, we're giving it the name of the file we want to create, and at the moment our file folder is empty, it doesn't even have the Python file in there. Let's just save that for now. So we have the writing file, that's our Python file, there's nothing else in that folder with it. So we're going to open that file, and we're going to open it in write mode. So there's two main arguments to this. It's either W or R. W for write, R for read. So close the brackets. Now we're assigning it to a variable. This variable is the handle. It's an identifier for the file itself. It doesn't contain a string or an integer or anything like that. It is the file essentially, or at least a pointer to it. So that means that later in our program we can say handle dot to say that we're going to do something with that handle, and we can just say we're going to write. So we can just write hello world to that file, and then after we finish doing everything with it, we need to close it. So we've saved that. If we just have a quick look at the file, there's just that there. Now if we can run it. So we've run that. We've now got the write test file. We open it. There we go. We've got one file which contains hello world in it. I'm just going to change this program slightly. Hello world. It's a lovely day. I hope you're having fun. Okay, let's run that, see what happens. So we've opened the file in write mode, assigned it to the handle. Now we're using the handle to write. We can use whatever variable name we want. I've just used handle because it makes some sense. Now if we open that file, okay, you can see that it's written everything I wanted, but it's done it all on the same line. That's because it's done exactly what we want, and it hasn't put a new line at the end of anything. So just a /n will essentially be pressing enter. Now it's also worth noting, we've got some stuff in this file. When we run it with W, it overwrites everything in the file. So it deleted what was in there, it's ran through the program, and it's written those 3 lines with a line break, so an enter key at the end of those 2. Haven't bothered at the end of that one. Okay, so that is all there is to it for writing to a file. A couple of points to take care on. Make sure you're closing the file. If you aren't closing the file, you will have issues. Second thing, extensions. This is .txt. Now on Windows, it doesn't like showing you the extensions. So you'll save something which is .txt, and it won't appear with .txt in here. We'll just say write test. You'll have to right-click Properties and go to Details to see the accurate file name. But generally, if it's a text document, it'll be .txt. Okay, so we've got write test and we've got writing. I'm actually going to copy that to readme, so I have a file called readme with those 3 lines of text. And now we're going to have a go at reading. Now the start is very similar. we're opening the file again. So name of the file. Note that it's the current directory. This is where I'm writing the file. These text files are in the same directory. And I'm opening it as reading this time. Now there's two ways to do this. So method 1 is great for going over multiple lines, and it's simply doing a for loop. Now we can print I. Don't forget to close the handle. Oops, for I in handle. So this is the same as any other for loop. I will be each line of handle. So if we just save that and run it, there we can see that we've got all of the contents. We've got some weird spacing. What we can do is we can put some other stuff around it just so it's clear what we're actually printing. Run that again. And you can see that it's hello world and then that new file, that /n that we had at the end. So it keeps hold of that. That one didn't have a new line at the end, so that's everything all on there. That's one way to read it. Now method 2 is simpler, but it's harder to then handle the data sometimes. It's essentially just taking all of the contents, putting it straight into one variable. Now if we run that, okay, and I'm going to put the arrows around it again, just so we can see exactly what is in contents. Okay, so all of that is now part of one variable. So it depends if you want each line to be a variable as it goes through, or if you want the whole thing to be one variable. But there's two very similar methods where you can do most things. So that's the basic overview. You can do a lot more with it. You can have different variables reading stuff, having stuff read into them. You can have different variables writing out to the file. You can have user input going out to the file, all sorts of things. But that's your reading and there's your writing. Hope that is all nice and simple and nice and clear. Have a lovely day.